A very warm welcome to the program. Thank you so much for staying tuned at Smart 24 TV. We drive your business. My name is Anthony Sebali. Now today on The Point we have a very special discussion. The President of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, last week on Thursday issued a ban on clothes that are second-hand and mainly imported from Europe and America. And this was after he was opening up in an industrial park in the eastern region of Uganda. President Museveni threw down the gauntlet while at the breaking ground ceremony of 9 factories in the eastern city of Mbale. Now, if Uganda's head of state since 1986 has his way, and he usually does, by the way, he will definitely bring an end to the importation of second-hand clothes. Now, Uganda is a net importer, generally speaking, of several goods, including cars, including hardware material, and a lot more things we do import here than we export. However, clothes have been a very big business, especially for traders here in Uganda and in Kampala, with attraction of over quite a number of traders within the city and within East Africa. Now, what of course stands ahead is a lot of questions on whether this will be sustainable. Are we able to produce for our population? And then are we able as well to live without second-hand clothing? Now, joining me on The Point today, this discussion is none other than the chairman of the United Traders and Fashion Designers Association. That's none other than Mr. Mwanje Asuman. You're most welcome, Mr. Asuman, to the show.
Thank you so much for the honor. I am Mwanje Asuman. I'm the chairperson, United Traders and Fashion Designers Association. First and foremost, I would like to thank and welcome back whoever joined us on the tour or the trip we had over the weekend. The Minister of State for Trade, Cooperatives and Industries, Honorable Ntabazi Harriet, invited us for a consecration ceremony of Reverend Barnabas Bejuka in the West Rwenzori Diocese. That was on Sunday. We thank her so much for honoring us and welcoming back whoever attended. Yes.
No. Mr. Asuman, to just start with, what was the reaction, or what is the reaction, your personal reaction, but also the people you're representing? You're representing tailors and fashion designers who are definitely attached to the industry. What was their reaction on this ban?
This ban, to me and the entire business community, is very much unfair. One, because every one of us knows that not every Ugandan is able to purchase these ready-made items, coats, jackets, and what have you, clothes. So these are like substitutes to the new or ready-made items. So it's very much unfair and very much uncalled for, especially in periods of like today, where the finances or financial situations of each and every Ugandan is almost limping. We've had these conversations so many times. I don't want to call them double standards because it's from the fountain of honor. But we all know that even in Europe, many European countries, if you've traveled, many countries are actually still dealing and selling their markets for second-hand clothes. So how again does Uganda maybe decide to do what? To make it, to ban whatever the business. I personally, when I was still a small boy back in school, I started my business entrepreneurship in dealing in second-hand clothes. I used to get shirts, shoes, and trousers, take them to the airport and make some money. So if you go to the airport right now and ask them who is the designer, because they always used to call me designer, my name never sounded anywhere. They were ever designer. So it's me who actually used to design them. And by that time, a shirt of first class, because these all second-hand clothes normally have they are selected in different classes. So there is first class. By the time I started doing that business, first class was 4,000. That is, I think, around 2007. But today, the first class shirt goes to from up to 20,000 to 50,000. Meaning that these second-hand clothes, some of them are even more expensive than the new clothes. Mostly those ones that are imported from China and some other whatever countries. So for the production and our own capacity right now, I don't think it's fair, it's appropriate to have brought such a threatening, may I say, directive from the president. Because, for example, the statistics from the UBOS, Uganda National Bureau of Standards, say that Nitel, Christex, Fine Spinners, and other local players combined together, the capacity we can produce is less than 5%. So if of the population, the market. So it is very much unfair of someone coming up with a policy to stop or ban second-hand clothes. Why? Because to me, I would suggest, or my observation is, if the government is willing to stop or put a ban on second-hand clothes, one, they must empower local manufacturers. For example, the biggest players in the market today, I think we have Nitel and Fine Spinners. What are their production capacity? How much do they produce? Have you quantified that? Because before setting up these whatever horrible and threatening rules or whatever directives, you must consider their capacity first of all. Now, for example, my capacity to production is less than 1,200 whatever pieces a day. That is less than 100 dozens. You know, our population is 45 millions. And we are having actually other nations that are relying on what we produce here. Because even before us starting producing whatever these garments, we used to have people from different countries coming here to do what? To buy clothes that we actually imported from what? Different countries. We have got countries that are buying second-hand clothes bales from here and then exporting them to their local whatever markets. How has the government, how is it going to implement this? I mean, it is becoming, it is a real tug of war between us, the manufacturers, local government manufacturers, because to me, I don't think second-hand clothes is actually affecting my business. Why? In 2016, a directive like that was made. I shifted my capital because I was dealing in fabrics, Mitenge fabrics, from here, Nairobi, Congo, and Tanzania to South Sudan, because it was the most profiting market by that time. So after hearing that the president has made a directive that maybe we are going to shift from they are banning second-hand clothes, I was like, now the lands or the grounds are now fertile for garments manufacturing. I shifted my capital, brought it here, started up a small business, tailoring business here. Actually, the challenge came in after I discovered a good design. It was a good fashion, it was a good dress from South Sudan. I looked around to where is it is manufactured. It wasn't in China, it wasn't in Dubai, but it was in Nairobi. So I made an order in Nairobi from the Somalis. It's actually the Somalis that are doing what? Tailoring mostly in Kenya. So I made my order of 3,600 pieces. Those are 300 dozens. I brought those items here, and guess what? People appreciated the design. So I was like, now how am I going to make these dresses made here locally?
In Uganda.
Yes. I bought 10 bales of fabrics, and gave them to our local whatever tailors. The biggest whatever they could give me a day, the biggest number they could give me a day was less than 40 pieces, less than 50
in a day.
In a day. So, when I go to Nairobi, when I used to go to Nairobi, put my order, the Somali will tell you, go to the hotel, come back tomorrow around this time, your order will be ready. Those are 3,600 what?
Pieces in a day.
In a day.
And here
so
you couldn't hardly make 50.
Yes, I came back here and asked myself, what are these guys using, or what method are they using to produce as many as these people can't manage? So I realized their machines were far better than the machines, the technology we used to manufacture clothes here. So I sat with a few of my friends. We decided to go to China and get good machines, industrial machines. Brought machines here and started the business. As the business went on, government came up with policies that wouldn't actually support any of us to stay in business. That was, I think, 2020. During the COVID days, every one of you knows that the taxes were shifted from 25% import duty on fabrics to $5 per kg and 35%, whichever is higher. So whichever is higher, automatically imply that we are supposed to pay taxes in dollars, which dollars multiplied the tax payable to 1.2 billion shillings per container of 30 ton or 28 ton. So we moved office to office to make these people reverse their policy. After 8 months, they happened to understand what we were telling them, but they did not shift back to the original. They again put us on 35%. Each one of us knows here in this room that 35% is a specific value. The common external tariff, East African common external tariff, stipulates that someone who is importing raw materials is supposed to be paying taxes at 0% import duty. Someone who is importing fabrics or items, because I'm talking about what we use in our whatever workshops, we're supposed to be paying at 10% import duty. And someone who is importing for general trade would be paying for 25%. We are not paying at any of those rates, meaning that our production cost automatically went up because we had actually thought of putting or making alternative clothes for people who can't afford those ready-made from London, China and elsewhere. We're making them here using 1.5 meters to produce 2 pieces of dresses that can fit a woman of size L. I don't know whether you know the sizes.
I understand.
We range from size S, L, and what have you. So size L would be made from 1.5 meters, and we get 2 pieces. That was a good option, because a dress could go for 15,000. So after putting up those after raising the taxes from the normal we used to pay, because a container used to pay like between 60 to 80 millions. It's now paying between 120 or 150 millions. It entirely depends on the valuation officer, because as far as every one of you knows, there is no specific value or exact value for any product that is imported. So we are now in negotiations with the Mr. Musenguzi, the one of URA.
Yes.
Yes, we are still negotiating with him to make sure that we at least get values that are constant.
I understand.
In that the trader, before setting off to China, you already know that if I'm going to bring this amount of let me say material, my taxes are like, for example, 10 millions, 100 million.
So you want the fixed rates?
We want it to be fixed.
You want it to be fixed.
Yes, and
but then Mr. Museveni's argument, when you look at what he's saying, he strongly believes that the ban will spur local textile industries. And when you look at what he said, between 2020 to 2022, he says about actually a decade ago, from 2022, we got at least about 26 to 76 million in exportation of cotton. And this is mostly in semi-processed form. And he's saying, why are we taking huge amounts of semi-processed cotton to European countries? They make the new clothes, they wear them, and after wearing them, they throw them back at us, and we still buy them at a very high price. So why don't we get to use our local raw materials? Why don't we exploit the cotton we have and actually process it to make clothes?
In that line, the president has a very valid point. Because if you take it into perspective, 227 kgs of cotton, that is one bale. It costs $360 on the international market. 277 kgs are enough to make 215 pair of jeans. Which pair of jeans come back here at around 50,000 or even more?
Yeah, I've seen that.
It makes 1,200 t-shirts. Which t-shirts come back again here to the market at 20,000 plus whatever amount. So in that context, I think he has a point. But before going into that, why don't you look at supporting or preparing local players to fit into the what? Into the market or direction you're setting them to be. You know, it's very much unfair twisting someone to fit into a bigger image. That maybe they are not yet ready to do what? To fit in. For example, as the tailors, fashion designers, and for example, I will take an example of us, the United Tailors and Fashion Designers. In my small workshop or personal workshop, I can employ up to 35 people. Those 35 people are entirely relying on me. The next day, you'll see someone coming up with income tax licenses, trade license. You'll see rental charges coming in. Everything is levied on to what? Onto that small business. Would suggest that if government is in support or is actually trying or building capacity to stop maybe relying on imported whatever items, let us have leveled grounds of doing business. For example, now, the president and people in government are praising, are they called investors, foreign investors?
No.
Yes, we've been pushed so hard to deal with them. I recently dealt with one of the companies that are manufacturing fabrics here. I got samples from them. They were showing a different material. I went, analyzed it, and I thought it was good for my factory. I went back to them, negotiated, and they're like, now, yes, we are going to give you 2.5 tons at that amount. I paid my money in cash because their view was like, now we can even deal in what? We can give you on credit. You pay later. I was like, no, I'm going to be paying cash. But let's start with a consignment of 10 what? 10 million.
10 million, yes.
I paid my cash, 10M. After paying my money, they denied me access again to the stores to select what I want. You understand? Because in garment manufacturing, you consider colors, what texture, and what have you. They denied me a chance to enter into the what? In their store to make a selection of exactly what I want. What I want.
Yeah.
So reaching my store, I realized I had gotten 75% of the materials were meant to make collars. You know, t-shirt material. 75% is meant for collars, and then 25% is the material that they actually showed me. So if you're praising these people, what yardstick are you using to measure, one, their capacity, two, competence, you know? All those need to be put into perspective before we start praising them or even pushing local players to do what? Do business with them. Yes.
So in other words, even when the president is pushing for us increasing the local consumerism, but also the production locally, we are still leaning on the back of investors. We are not yet to the point where we can say the tailors in Uganda can actually hold the capacity not only to feed Uganda, but also the entire East Africa with clothes?
Yeah, right now, all I can say, we're basing on the statistics and the available whatevers we have. Our capacity is less than 5%. We're not proud of it. That's why, for us, like, for example, the United Tailors and Fashion Designers Association came up with an idea. It's a concept of the Tailors City. If you've traveled to Singapore, you've traveled to China, India, and Kenya here,
Yeah, they do
have tailors cities.
Yeah, that's right.
So we are like, now let us set up a tailors city. I cannot manage doing this alone because in my own capacity, I can raise up to, for example, 600 million. But this initiative needs up to 15 million US dollars to implement. So we are crying to government, if there is a possibility that at least you can get us land, we can start from there, multiply our profits slowly, and construct what we want to build for the country. Because a tailor's city in most of these whatevers, in these countries that I've mentioned, is exclusively for locally made garments. We cannot control the quality of production, garments quality made here, when we don't have a gazetted place
for specifically tailors.
Yes, we cannot enforce it.
We're going to take a very quick break, Mr. Mwaji.
Yes, please.
When we return, Rwanda, for example, successfully banned second-hand clothes.
Yeah.
But when you look at the consequences, they were sanctioned by the United States. But later on, when you look at how Rwanda is doing, they're doing fairly well. I think they're moving on even to ban other imports from other countries, like even laptops. They're making their own laptops, they're making their own phones. What can we learn from, for example, Rwanda? You've already talked about smart, rather tailor cities, where you have streets dedicated for clothing. I've been to Rwanda and I've seen that. They have dedicated areas for clothing, for shoes, and people are doing business. So what lessons can we learn as we, of course, await this ban? My name is Anthony. We return shortly after this quick breather. Stay with us. We are Smart 24 TV and we drive your business.
Smart 24, driving business.
It's super fast internet. Oh, it's a super camera. It's a super battery.
Fun battery full.
Yeah, it's a super deal. Get the Kabode Super from MTN now at a reduced initial deposit of only 49,000 shillings and pay the balance in Pola for as low as 833 shillings per day. Grab this Super Kabode deal and get 2 GB of free MTN data every month for 8 months. Get the Kabode Super now from any MTN shop countrywide. Everywhere you go, MTN. Regulated by UCC.
Luxury redefined at Seasand Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasand Hotel, so visit today at plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasand Hotels, luxury redefined.
Say goodbye to paperwork and travel costs. Now every MTN customer can register to invest in securities anytime and anywhere with Zabu in a few simple steps. Step 1. Dial *292#. Step 2. Select option 1. Register with Zabu. Step 3. Enter your full names. Step 4. Enter your national identification number. Step 5. Enter your national identification card number. In 24 hours, you will receive an SMS confirming your registration. Congratulations, you are now ready to invest.
Waliwo abagamba nti okuyiiya emizannyo si muzannyo, olina okwewaayo n'okukkiririza ennyo mu ky'oyiiya. Olina okubaayo n'omuntu akuyambako. Naye olowooza omuntu ng'ekyo kimuli mu musaayi ebyo bimulya anti aba yazaalibwa kukola ekyo. Tega Pearl Magic Prime ne Pearl Magic Loco. Sigala ng'oyungiddwako olabe engero zaffe ennyuvu nga bikoleddwa mu ngeri eyaffe ey'ekinnansi.
Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to The Point. I'm with Mr. Mwanje Asuman, the chairman of the United Traders, Tailors and Fashion Designers Association. We are discussing the ban on second-hand clothes that was issued by the president literally this last Thursday, as he was unleashing 16 factories in Sino, Uganda, Bali factories, where he is encouraging Ugandans to buy Uganda and build Uganda, or famously known as Bubu. But what is the cost of this ban? And we've seen this before, but hasn't the implementation come in later? Has it actually been implemented? Have we seen any implementation in the course of the last decade? Mr. Mwanje, yes. As we have mentioned earlier in our last episode, yes, the traders are not pleased with this. But the president, if I can quote him, he said, these clothes, he said, stop buying second-hand clothes. These clothes are for dead people. Yeah. Then when the whites die, I'm quoting him, they organize the clothes and bring them to Africa. Support me, we stop importation of second-hand clothes so that we buy our own locally made clothes. Rwanda implemented a ban on second-hand clothes a couple of years ago. And by the way, this is not just something that is made by President Museveni. The East African community, under its guidelines and agenda, they have one of their goals is to end importation of second-hand clothes as well. So Rwanda was just complying. And Rwanda faced a lot of criticism, a lot of challenges. US sanctioned Rwanda. They were put out of AGOA, the AGOA treaty. But they're surviving. And when you go to Rwanda, they're making progress. What lessons can we draw from them? Because even if we fight the ban, it seems to be unlikely that we're going to depend on second-hand clothes forever as Ugandans. So what lessons can we draw from people like Rwanda?
Moving forward from where we are right now, I would suggest that before the government totally banning second-hand clothes, I was thinking of them taking phases. For example, back in, I think like 2 or 4 years ago, there was a strict ban on second-hand bras. So whoever is caught with second-hand bras downtown it was again a game of the customs officers and the law enforcement, whatever officials that would actually get money from them. So you will find out that maybe tomorrow the government is regulating that now this is the irreducible minimum for the second and whatever. Because I don't think stopping them instantly would be a solution, because we are having almost 500,000 people dealing in that. If you go downtown or Wino Market, St. Valley Kudembe, 96% of the people that are working in that market are selling these items. What is the alternative or whatever activity the government has planned for them? We need to move in a direction that is actually going to favor each and every payer. It has been this government is culture to move 2 steps ahead and then go back at 20 steps. Like for example, in 2002, 2003, LD was put out of whatever. Again, after a period of 10 to 12 years, when even security cameras were implemented and what have you, government felt it was again urgent to bring back what? LDU. Meaning that after moving 2 steps forward, we again went back 20 feet steps backwards. So we need to plan well before we maybe abolish or stop the importation of second-hand clothes. I'm not saying that the business is going to stop because second-hand clothes are stopping, but what are the plans? What have you put in plan? What have you actually planned for these people? You know, before stopping it, you need to have.
But also, Mr. Mwanji,
yes,
can Ugandans afford first-hand clothes?
It will entirely depend on the tax regime.
Have you ever tried the business of importing first-hand clothes and then second-hand clothes and comparing how the response is from the market?
Yes, a container of second-hand clothes goes for less than 50 million taxes.
Yeah.
A container of ready-made clothes or new clothes isn't less than 200 million.
Tax. Wow.
Yes.
That means that can go 4 times. The price can go up to 4 times.
Yes. So it will be actually based on the tax policy. One, if you want to discourage people from importing these second-hand clothes, put heavy taxes on them. For example, with this car, with the car, vehicles and motor whatevers, importing a worn-out vehicle, taxes are again cheaper than what? Importing a new.
Yeah, and yet
which means you want to discourage people from importing worn-out whatever items. How again are you putting their taxes too
lower?
You know, you find most of us who have traveled to like South Sudan and other countries, I go to South Sudan and pay my taxes from there.
That's right. I see so many cars coming in from
South Sudan. It's easier for me to buy a car from South Sudan, get a Sudanese number plate, bring it here, pay up to $60 every 3 months.
Yeah,
that is $20 per month. And then drive it for 8 years. You'll see it is 60 times 3, 180, is it?
Yes.
Times 8 years. You'll find that I've saved more money than someone who paid 70 million for the same car.
That's right.
As tax here. So the government must plan ahead of each and every whatever obstacles that are going to affect people from doing that, supporting the policy. Second, for example, you talked about Rwanda. Rwanda and its government officials and enforcement officers, corruption isn't as much as it is here. You will find that, for example, importing, I used to import from Nairobi, getting for example, a bale of 300 kgs from Kenya to Uganda, it will cost you up like 1.2 million shillings. Do you understand? And again, taking the same to South Sudan will cost you something less than 500,000.
No.
Here it is 650 kilometers. To South Sudan, it's 1,300 kilometers. But here, it is 1.2 million. Someone who is taking it to South Sudan is going to pay 500 or less than 500,000 Uganda shillings.
And they are passing through Uganda.
Yes, and they are passing through Uganda. What is it that makes things that are coming here more expensive than those that are going to, elsewhere? So we need to look into all that before we set policies that are actually meant to suffocate local players.
Yeah.
Yes, because in garments manufacturing, for example, we need to have government's hand avail to us. How? We are almost each and every workshop that is operating downtown is operating informally. How do we formalize?
Yeah, I see so many people in Chiembe.
Yes.
But do they have licenses? Are they trained?
None of them is operating formally. Bring up sensitization, whatever, as programs to make each and every one of us understand what are the importances of doing business formally than doing it informally. What are the incentives that the government is putting on table? For example, I'm renting a workshop somewhere at 3.5 million a month. I'm paying up to this tune because the cost of electricity downtown or everywhere is high. I'm paying up to this amount because my landlord is paying ground taxes or infrastructure taxes.
Yeah, rental tax.
Rental tax. Meaning that if government maybe came up with a policy that now, for example, if this is a building that is actually maybe accommodating innovative Ugandans, we are going to give you free electricity or subsidize to a certain percentage. And for example, you see there is certain whatever place in Ntinda called Innovation Village. I don't know whether you've been there.
Yeah.
Innovation Village. Someone goes, gets an office, they do business at almost a subsidized half the prices that we people are paying this side. So it's very much easier for a person to blossom from that side than this side. Why? The cost of doing business that side is what? Is lower. That is what is done in different countries, which is not here. So it's the government's job to come up with policies.
So you're incentivizing, but
yes.
Our factories here that we have fine spinner, knighting, I don't know what, Nightil. What are they doing? Because at the end of the day, the president should be running up to them to build capacity, to say, okay, now you've been able to produce this capacity, can we expand? Because land is there, right? If we are looking for resources, probably government has the resources. But are these factories ready to scale up and actually get to employ? Because actually, someone made a comment that this industry has the potential of employing 5 million Ugandans formally,
yes,
and with very good pay.
Yeah.
That means it has the potential. But are we ready, especially with these factories that we have in place, to have this implemented?
The value chain for garments or textile or fabrics manufacturing is a big one because it starts from the garden, people who are actually planting this cotton and what have you. Basing on the statistics, national statistics, we've got 250,000 households depending on cotton. But when that cotton is harvested, we consume up to 200 million meters of material, fabric, as a country. Ask yourself, how much is produced here? How much do we put to use? How much do we actually use to make final products? Because from the 200 million meters of material, I'm talking about even the shirt that comes when it's threaded and what? ready-made.
Yeah.
This would be a good yardstick for government to start at least assessing where are we starting from. What does it cost for a factory to use up to, for example, 600 meters a day? How much do I need to have maybe 1,000 tailors in one place? What do we need to have them in one space? But you'll find if you go, for example, to a ministry, a certain ministry, someone will tell you A, B, C, and D. My government is this. Government doesn't have money to do this. Now, if they don't have money to do much to improve on our whatever manufacturing capacities and what have you, because we've moved to Kapeka, we've seen what they are manufacturing. We've started making orders because actually last year around this time, it was July 25th, we got a countrywide tour into fabrics manufacturers. We realized that latex garments in Kapeka, latex textiles, were manufacturing exactly what we wanted in our market. We started doing business with them. But they're also having challenges in quality and capacity in production. It's very easy for me to make an order today with them of, like, for example, say 500 rolls of what? Or rolls of material. And this order is delivered in December.
Wow.
So the space between now and December, someone who is importing from China has already imported 3 times. So we need to help these local manufacturers build the capacity before we demand too much from them. Yes.
Wow. Well, finally, what are your final remarks when it comes to especially the traders preparing themselves in case this ban this time is implemented? The president, this is not the first time he's making such comments. In 2016, he has made the same comments, but there wasn't much implementation. But if at all this ban is implemented, as the president has already put it, what of advice, first of all, to your fellow traders and then to the government?
In reference to that, in 2016, 2017, there is an organization called Global Entrepreneurship Monitor. It carried out a survey, a worldwide survey on entrepreneurs. And it discovered that Uganda had the biggest number of what? Of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Yes, we do business, but unfortunately, the business that we do don't last to see their first birthday. Meaning that 78% do not celebrate their first anniversary. What is the cause of this whatever? Policies. Someone has just opened up a store to sell, for example, chapati or a Rolex, whatever. The next day, someone is coming. We need license. We need ABC and
For a
B.
chapati store.
Yes. So government must come up with policies that support entrepreneurs direct from grassroots up to where, because we are not all going to be big or whatever. But after discovering a talent in someone, government needs to support that. Because, for example, now government is training people in tailoring through the presidential initiative in skilling a girl child and what have you.
That's right.
These people come to us without even a single skill of operating an industrial machine. Why are they still training our children using outdated technologies? Let us have technologies implemented. Let us have good whatevers. For example, about tailors. I'm going to talk about tailors because this is the sector that I know. Getting a tailor to do a suit alone is also killing the industry. Why? If you go to countries like China and Bangladesh and other whatever governments, good manufacturing industry countries, it's the initiative of the directors or the company owners to set conditions that Mwanje, your whatever here, your job here is to make this scarf.
Only?
Yes.
You specialize in that?
Others are specializing
the collar.
in collars. Others are specializing in button holding.
Yeah.
So here in Kampala, you find someone he has got an order of maybe making a suit for me, and no one is going to eat on that very money. It's that very man who is going to start from cutting, plotting, stitching, up to the end of the what? Up to the end of the chain. Meaning that...
So he's cutting out all the
no one can ever even for once specialize in each and everything. You'll find out that maybe he has made these collars right, but the waste is now bogus. Meaning that we are not going to be able to monitor the quality or get good quality products made here when we still have people that are actually specializing in doing each and everything. So the value chain needs to be done what? To also be revised.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Mwanje Asuman, and thank you for sharing those very wonderful insights. That's it from us, ladies and gentlemen. The ban on second-hand clothes is not yet in implementation, but the president made these remarks last week on Thursday in Mbale City while opening over 160 units of factories. And we are definitely looking at policy change. Mr. Mwanje, like he has shared, policy kills the whole business. And that's why the show is here to analyze policies that will definitely push businesses here in Kampala and in Uganda and East Africa at large. My name is Anthony, and that's it from us tonight. Business news is coming up next. Stay with us. Have a good night. Bye for now.